I just wanted to make clear that this is going to be acceptable to the author, but I'm happy to yield for questions.
So Representative Wu has agreed to accept this amendment. So under current Texas law, individuals can opt out of immunization regimes and protocols based solely on religious exemption or conscientious exemption. That's a fact.
Yes.
So why would we need this amendment if they can already do that? So you're suggesting that CPS would somehow take a child for, in fact, acting in accordance with existing law. Why do we need this amendment?
My amendment makes clear, it codifies in statute what you just said. It ensures that CPS now or in the future cannot do that. It's very simple and straightforward.
Are you aware of any instances where CPS, solely for the reason of having a child that's unimmunized, has taken a child?
We have heard instances. I don't know about solely, Representative Villalba. And by the way,
we and what are the instances?
My friend Representative Stickland's waving his hand. I know of others who've reported that this has been part of the investigation. That's fine, Representative Villalba. But if you want to make this personal, that's your choice, not mine.
How am I making this personal? I'm asking questions.
Well, by you insinuating that what Representative Stickland's implying doesn't carry much weight with you, that's fine, neither here nor there.
Answer my question.
Representative Villalba, let me be very clear what this amendment does and what it doesn't do. This amendment...
House will please come to order.
Representative Villalba, you just clarified and accurately stated what Texas law currently allows.
Are there any instances?
And if you'll let me finish my answer.
Fair.
And what my amendment does is ensures that with respect to House Bill 7, the provisions of House Bill 7 and the actions now and in the future of CPS, that if a parent based solely on reasons of conscience declines to immunize their child, then CPS cannot use that as the sole factor for either terminating the parent-child relationship or moving that child from the home. That's all it does. Very simple.
Are you aware of any instances where CPS has ever done this before?
I believe, based on what I know at this point, that it has been used as a factor before.
A factor, but not solely the reason?
No.
Are immunizations helpful or hurtful to children?
Representative Villalba, we could have that debate on this floor. I know what I believe about it. I know I believe that the parent ought to be the one to decide, not the government. I believe very strongly in that. But what this amendment simply codifies is protecting a parent, which is currently protected under state law, Representative Villalba.
The question is quite simple. Are immunizations hurtful or are they harmful
I think Representative Villalba, as you know, there's a lot of well-meaning, very smart people on both sides of that issue.
Members of the House, please come to order.
There's a lot of people on both sides of that issue that are smart and well-meaning, that love their children, and that believe that government ought to stay out of the decision. And that's what this amendment says. That's what this amendment does, and that's what this amendment protects. If you disagree with that, then vote no.
Do you agree that the right to swing your fist ends at my face?
You know what? That's a creative. I've seen you tweet that many times. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Mr. Leach.
Representative Villalba, you and I are friends, and I know we disagree strongly on this issue. My amendment is very simple. My amendment protects the rights of parents to either immunize or not immunize their kids based on reasons of conscience, which is currently protected under state law. And all this does is, within the provisions of House Bill 7 and the relationship of CPS to parents, it protects that right. If you want to vote no, Representative Villalba, and go back home and argue why you believe the government ought to be forcing immunizations on people, and you believe that children ought to be removed from their homes because their parents aren't immunizing them, if that's the vote that you want to take today, then take that vote. I'm not taking that vote. I don't believe the majority of Texas people want us to take that vote, but by all means, go ahead. That's your vote, and I respect your right to disagree.
What if the child is in the home of someone who has been exposed to mumps, and the parents refuse to immunize that child, even though the child has been exposed to mumps? Is that a sufficient reason to pull the child from that home?
I much more protect the rights of parents to make those decisions than I do any government bureaucrat coming in that home and telling the parent what to do.
You would protect the rights of parents over the rights of the children who've been exposed to a disease that could potentially be fatal. I'm sorry, just so I understand your question, do I respect the rights of parents more than I respect the rights of government to come in and tell them what's best for the children? Did I say government?
I so much more respect the rights of parents to do what's in the best interest of their children than government.
Right to live.
Then government, 100 times out of 100 times, give me the parent over the government official any day of the week.
Right to live.
Mr. Rinaldi, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield for a couple questions?
Yield?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
This amendment's acceptable to the author, correct?
Yeah, it is, Representative Rinaldi. Thank you for reminding us of that.
And it doesn't change existing law, correct?
It simply codifies existing law, Representative Rinaldi.
But perhaps after that exchange, maybe we need a little more protection for existing law, don't you think?
It's scary to hear what we just heard, Representative Rinaldi, but I'd ask that we focus on my amendment, what it does not do. It's acceptable to the author. If someone wants to have a vote, let's vote and go forward.